Hello everyone, welcome to Explaining Sales. In this video, we will create some PowerShell scripts, and the first script we will create will output the information of the system that we will run the script on. So let's get started. And I will use the Notepad plus application to create the scripts. So let's first save the file. Let's name this get system information.pes. Let's save this. Let's save this in desktop. And the first thing we will check is the hostname of the system. So let's create a new variable hostname, and we will use the command hostname, and after that print the and after this the information that is useful is the IP address of the system. So first let's get the network adapters that are present in the system. And there are other commands that can help you get the IP address of the network adapters, but I'm using this command in this case because I want to filter out the adapters that are actively sending and receiving the traffic. So let's move forward. For each adapters, let's get the IP of each adapter first. And the parameter interface alias, and we will provide the name of the adapter that we found. And let's only select the IPv4 address. After that, let's get the MAC address. Let's only select the MAC address, and let's print the output. IPv4 address. Let's mention the name of the adapter so that it's easier to understand. And after that, the IP address. Now let's print the MAC address of the adapters. And after this, with this we can get the MAC address and IP address of each adapter that is actively sending and receiving the traffic in the computer. So let's close the for loop. And now let's collect some operating system information. And the first information we will collect is the ASP release. and let's this information is located on some registry path, so we will access that path and retrieve this information. If you are not sure what we are doing, we are simply just retrieving this part of the operating system, that is this 22 years to part. And after this, let's get the build number. And this is stored in the same location, so let's just do Control D, copy this line, and after this just change something that we want. And after that, let's get the UVR number. And it's still in the same location, so let's just copy this and let's get the UVR. Now that we can combine this build num variable and the UVR variable to get the uh, current build version of the operating system. So equals to build num dot UVR. And again, with these three commands, what we are retrieving is this whole portion, that is this OS build and this whole portion, and UVR is this 4602 number, which is the current version of patch, that's current version of patch that's installed on this computer. Now moving forward, let's get the OS information. Get CIM instance, that is Win32. Now let's get the architecture. Dot OS architecture, and after that let's get the name of this OS, which is maybe Windows 10 Pro or Windows 11 Pro or whatever you are running. Let's also output the uptime. and and let's also print from when this computer was on. So yes. So let's print all this information. And next is the build number. Since we are getting the uptime in hours, so let's also print that uh, so that it looks little bit nice. Up since when, uptime since. Now that's it for the OS information. After this, let's get the user information. For that, let's create a new variable, current user. If you are more curious, you can read the help for each of these commands. In this video, I will not be explaining these commands. And what I want to do is list all the local users that are present in this system. So let's use the commandlet get local user. And let's check the name of the local user and if it's enabled or not. So write output. First, let's print the current user. And since we are checking the local users, let's print one headline. Uh, let's write local users status and let's loop through each user and print their status. For each user in local users, so if the user is enabled, and if the user is not enabled, we can simply print. Let's close the. Now finally, let's get one more information, that is the firewall information, the status of the host firewall. So let's print Since we will be running this on Windows system, Windows status firewall status equals to get net firewall profile, and let's only check the name of the profile and if it's enabled or not. So select name and enabled. Now let's do the same for firewall profiles as we did with users. So let's just copy this portion of the uh, script. Let's paste it here and change the setting. Now that's it. Let's add some lines so that we can uh, separate each information. Let's copy this. Let's add one after the host name and one after this, and maybe one after this, and here also. And after this, maybe one here, and maybe one here, and maybe one here, so that we can differentiate this. And we can put one here also. And let's save this and try to run it. Let's go to the cell. Desktop. And if we run get hit enter, you can see all the information, or at least the basic information that we might require as system administrator, or whatever your purpose is. You can add a lot more information in this script, and that's it for this script. Now let's create another one. Now in the next script, we will create a backup script that will back up the folders and files that we want to a specific location. So let's just save this. Let's name this backup.ps1. Now in this script, we will use the user inputs as command parameters. So let's create a parameters block first, and to do that, type the keyword PARAM and the parameters. Now let's create two mandatory parameters that will be the source of our file and the location, or the backup location that we want. So let's create a mandatory parameter PARAMETER parameter, which will be mandatory. and after this string and the parameter name. With this, what we are specifying is that our parameter will uh, take string values as input. Let's create a new parameter. Again, let's create a mandatory parameter. True. This parameter also takes a string as input, and let's create a switch parameter and include timestamp and close the parameter block. Now with that switch parameter, we will add timestamps to the file that we are trying to backup. So let's first check if the source directory exists. Let's provide a comment also. And if not, if the source path does not exist, then we will write and exit. That's it. And now let's determine the backup location. If this switch parameter is provided, what we want to do is so simply if this switch parameter is provided, we will name the file or the backup folder as backup underscore and the current timestamp. But if that switch is not provided, we will simply create the backup folder and that's it. And if the backup directory does not exist, we need to create it. So if we'll just take the path, if this path does not exist, so we will just create it. So new item path will be the backup destination. Item type directory, and let's output nothing. Now we just need to perform the backup. Try. From to So we will copy the file that we provided with the source parameter to the backup destination, and if the task is completed, we will print backup completed successfully. But if there are some errors, we will catch it. Now that's it for this script. Let's run it. If we check my PC, I do not have another partition. So what I'll do is I'll just copy the files or this script folder to this downloads folder, or maybe to this documents folder. Backup. The source will be scripts. Root will be C users. Downloads. Let's include the timestamp as well. Hit enter. There was some typo, so we got all these errors. So let's run it again and hit enter. Oh, I didn't save this. So let's run it again, and this time we completed it without any errors. So let's go check that directory. Now that's it for this script. You can customize it as per your need. Now for the next script, we will create a script that will ping the host that we have provided, and if it's alive, it will save that result, and if it's not alive, it will also save that result and get us a text file at the end. So let's create that script. Let's save it. Test, maybe let's name it ping.ps1. Now let's first provide the path to the host file that contains our list of hosts. So we will just put the host.txt file in the current location that the script is stored in. So That's all we need right now. And finally, when we complete all the tasks, the result will be saved in this ping results.txt file. And now to read the host from the input file, get content, path will be input file. Now let's initialize the arrays to store the results. For that, we'll create one array for the replied the hosts that are alive. So let's create a variable replied, and one for no reply. Now let's loop through each host and test the connection. So loop for each new host in host, being result equals to test connection. And let's count. Let's use 3 because sometimes the first 2 packets fail even if the host is alive. So let's use 3, which will be good in most cases. And let's use the parameter quite. Now if we get the ping result, let's store that the replied array that we created earlier. The reply else, if the host is not alive or we do not get the ping reply back, we will save the result in the no reply array. Now after this, let's combine the results and save them to the same file. So to do that, reply plus no reply, these two arrays, and to conclude this, let's write and that's it. To test this, first we need to create a text file and use this same name. And let's put some host, maybe 8.8.8, which is the public DNS for the Google, and some gibberish maybe. So maybe something like this, and something like, and let's try running that file. Enter. Now as you can see, ping results saved to ping results.txt, and a new text file has been created. So let's check this. We got a reply from this, and we didn't get a reply from these two hosts. And you can customize it as per your requirements. And that's it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.